Hey everyone, this is my premiere live stream. I thought long and hard about what to wear, and then I decided to heck with it. I'm going to wear what I put on this morning to shovel the driveway because the point of this channel is to show you genuine life with me. And this is what it looks like on a Sunday night. It's not gorgeous. Um, and I'm here to talk to you about something kind of important tonight. But first, for those of you who are new to this, and since this is the premiere live stream, there isn't a whole lot of content at this point. If you're watching this in December of 2025, to know what this is about. My name is Sarah Santana. I am a wife, a mother of 6 children, a writer. I do some book reviews. I do a variety of other things in my life as well, but I'm also a daughter of the living God. And that impacts everything that I do, the way I see things. And so even though the main purpose of this channel is to talk to you about my writing and what's going on with all of that and to share bits of my life with you, you're going to hear about the Bible too, because that is kind of the lens that I look at the world. Today, I want to come to you to talk to you about something that I was reading in the Word recently that really struck me. I don't know if you read the Bible at all. Maybe you have this experience where you'll read a passage and then you'll go back and you'll read it again and you'll see something you never saw before, even though you read it maybe several times in the past, maybe many more than that. And in this case, I was reading in Chronicles. I've got my Bible here for reference because memory, you know. I was reading the story of Manasseh. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Chronicles, because I know a lot of people aren't, Chronicles is the story of the kings of Israel and Judah. So basically, brief Jewish history of the Bible. You have Adam and Eve, and then things go bad. And then they have all kinds of descendants, and those descendants don't really listen to God, and it gets really, really bad. You end up with Noah, and you get the flood. And then a while after Noah, you get Abraham, who is a friend to God, and he gets to know God, and there's a covenant there. And then eventually Abraham's descendants end up in Egypt. And then you end up with the story of Moses. Hopefully some of these names are sounding familiar to you. And ultimately Moses and all of them, they come out, and there's the big Red Sea. You've got like 10 Commandments, right? The movie 10 Commandments, that kind of idea. And they didn't get it quite right, but you get the idea. I think Prince of Egypt, right? And so then they wander looking for Israel, trying to get to the promised land for 10 years. They found it. It's more complicated than that, but they were 10 years getting there. And then in Judges, the book of Judges, they take over the land. And then you have, after a while, you have the first king of Israel, which was King Saul, and kind of failed. And so you ended up with King David. And you'll hear there's actually a big movie coming out in December about David, and I know there's been other shows about David recently that have come out. David's kind of a name of the Bible. And then David had his son Solomon, who was the wisest king ever. And then when Solomon had his son, the kingdom was divided, and you had Judah and you had Israel. And so the books of Kings and Chronicles talk about the different kings in both of those segments of Israel. Some of them were good, some of them were not so good. And in this case, the king Manasseh was king of Judah, and his father had loved the Lord, but he did not. And it says that he did basically a bunch of horrible things, and he brought back idol worship. He even went so far as to take an idol and put it in the temple, which is huge no. And it says he caused the people to sin worse than all the people that were in the land before the Israelites, including basically taking his own sons and burning them to death on behest of false gods. It was really not nice stuff. He screwed up really, really big. And I was aware of King Manasseh. I've read this before. But what had never popped out at me in this story, because Manasseh does all this horrible stuff, and God's like, okay, that's good enough. And he brings in, I am looking for the verse right here, brings in another nation. They come and they basically take Manasseh and they drag him away. It said, it was the king of Assyria. They took Manasseh, they drug him off to Babylon, and he was afflicted. It was not pleasant, the things that were happening to him. And this is the part of the story that just always escaped to my memory when I think about this king. It says, when he was afflicted, he implored of his fathers and prayed. I just missed that part of the story when I would remember it. I'm sure I read it. And actually, it doesn't mention this part when you read the account in Kings, because Kings and Chronicles will have different accounts of the same story. So one will have more detail about one king and less about another, that kind of thing. So you read them both to get like the full picture. But it says after he got back and he knew that the Lord was God, he went and tore down a bunch of things. He built a bunch of different things, and he told the people to worship the Lord. And they stopped the idol worship at that time. I don't know why I didn't remember the fact that this incredibly evil king turned around in his moment of affliction. Like, I guess from a humanistic standpoint, I look at it and I go, this guy's about as bad as he can get. I'm mom of 6. You're burning your babies? Like, is there something worse than that? I can't think of anything worse than that. That's really, really horrible. I don't even know if YouTube's going to get after me for even saying this, but that's horrible. And yet he humbled himself and he was forgiven. And God not only forgave him, he brought him back to his position and back to Israel. And I find that very irrelevant. Not that I'm doing any of those things in my life, but I think it's very easy to look at our lives and go, man, I have screwed up so many times, especially when you find yourself doing the same stupid thing over and over again. Then maybe it's nothing major, but you're just being dumb. And it's like, why can't I break that habit? Or why do I keep making that mistake? And you can feel so frustrated and so depleted with yourself that you're failing. At least I go there. That's where I go. And so when I look at this and I go, here's someone who was incredibly evil, and yet God still looked upon him when he humbled himself and acknowledged his sin and acknowledged that God was God, and he turned around. God still looked upon him and he cared and he responded. And for me, that is hugely encouraging. If God can look on Manasseh and everything he did, then God can look on you and me. We have not screwed up so bad that it can't be turned around. So I hope that encourages you as much as it encourages me. And in all my amazing brilliance, I want to invite you to subscribe and to share and all the things, because that's people who know what they're doing say. And so I should say it too. But seriously, if you are interested in following what I'm going to be doing, trying to write some quality books and just see where God takes me on this journey, please go ahead, subscribe, follow along. I'd love to see your comments. If you have had anything in this particular passage or you want to look it up, it is 2 Chronicles chapter 33. That's where you'll find the one that I was referring to. If you want to read the account in Kings, it's 2 Kings chapter 21. I find a lot of good fodder in Chronicles and Kings to apply to my life. A lot of amazing stories of God's faithfulness, his compassion, and his faithfulness to show up in times of hardship. So I hope this has been a positive viewing experience for you, and that you will check out another video with me in the future. Peace be with you.